Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. This is another on the road episode. I would like to describe to you what I can see down the hallway. The flickering lights of an LED display cycling through all the colors of the rainbow. Not unlike a, perhaps,
gentleman's club?
closing strip club. Yes, that is in fact how one of this BnB's rooms is decorated, with a remote control, all room light show. We made Zach Schuster sleep there. Zach, welcome to the show.
Made is a generous description of what transpired. I leapt the chance to have the room with the streaming lights. I, in fact, set them to rainbow party mode to count my money after the show because I wanted to count my money in a strip club-like environment, which I now have an increased respect for those hard-working men and women. You cannot differentiate bills until the light hits certain
Because
colors.
international listeners, well, American listeners anyway, Canadian money is many colors also. So
And way less ones than you'd expect.
Yeah.
quite discombobulating. Now, Lyndon, who's also here in the B&B, was nearly forced to pull his mattress onto the floor because he had sunk straight through the box spring and his back turned into a twisted noodle.
It was a rough first day. Yes, I say this with my head in my hands after 5 days in this B&B. I think my body has adapted, as I did
no
not.
way it's been 5 days.
Time moves different around these
No
parts.
way it's been
In
5 days.
Saskatoon,
We arrived
time-
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
If you add
and
them all
now
up,
it's Sunday.
If you add them all up, it's 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, where Justin's sleeping, he has his own balcony.
He has his own sink.
He has his own
I have
sink.
my own sink.
He has a top floor room.
He has his own exit.
Lording
That's
above
right.
us all.
He has his own exit, yeah. There's definitely not 0% chance that the people who live in the basement have come up the stairs in the middle of the night and looked in on him while he's sleeping.
What's interesting is Justin said, unlike Zach's room, he cannot hear when the shower runs. He hears nothing actually through
Well,
the
the
rest
shower
of the house.
upstairs it's generous to call it a shower. So when it turns on, it just sounds like a weak sink is running somewhere.
Yeah. And so all Justin and I get upstairs, because I am in the second bedroom upstairs, is the wafting smells of the kitchen underneath us.
Yeah,
And that sounds vaguely pleasant, but I assure you, dear listeners,
It is
this
not.
B&B does not smell great, and it didn't smell great before we got here. I'd like to add.
Now, I have the great pleasure of sleeping on the hard mattress, but I'd sleep on the floor if I could most nights.
There
so
you go.
Well, mine's
it's
soft,
actually
so
been
whose
good.
is just right? Not Lyndon's.
Mine's
Justin's?
just right for me.
It must be Justin.
Yeah, mine's just right for me.
Yeah, mine's fine.
Mine's
But
good.
at about 6 a.m., through the vent under my room, is when the woman who lives downstairs begins singing while she starts cooking breakfast.
Ah, of course.
So,
I can't hear her.
yeah, well,
Well, I might have fallen in love.
It
So that's
could-
a good thing.
that's right.
Good.
It
Saved me
could-
from myself.
Remember last year when you fell in love with the Calgary Expo?
oh, I remember
was that?
that.
The tall blonde woman?
I don't remember that.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah, she was scary.
Just for a brief second. So, dear listener, we're on the road. We've been in this this B&B for a long time, and normally we write, illustrate, and create content for novels, comics, graphic novels.
In a strip club-like environment.
Not normally. That's not a normal thing for us, but sometimes on the road, even a strange place like this can start to feel like home. A little bit like home. In fact, you guys all got up in a normal rhythm. I cooked some pizzas, and then you guys swirled into a little rhythm of cleaning up after us. A perfect picture of domesticity for the BnB Bros.
Chad, Tanner, Meatball, and Zach.
Short for Zach.
Short for Zach.
We have just done the 2-day portion of the Saskatoon Expo.
Soon to be PopCon.
Yeah, which
We'll
is
get
just
there.
rebranded. Yeah, I guess we'll get there.
Mixed reviews on that name.
Mixed reviews on that name, but not on the show. I really enjoyed this show.
Yeah, we had a good one.
Yeah, Sask Expo was really good to us. Not to be confused with Sask Expo in Regina, which is not called Regina Expo, but Sask Expo.
Saskatchewan.
Or Toon Expo,
Yes.
the board game expo last weekend here.
That's right.
That's ToonCon.
ToonCon.
That's right.
That's right. So, if you are excellent at branding and you have a new suggestion for the Saskatoon Expo rebrand, reach out quick because they're about to print signage, I'd say. Otherwise, one of the really important features of this show, I think, was the excellent branded lanyards.
Yeah.
Those are hot.
Brought to you by Chasing Artwork. Why don't you tell the dear listeners how you bamboozled an entire convention into allowing you to put your brand everywhere?
And then the flex.
Oh, it was such
yeah.
a flex.
But like the more I was telling the story, the more I was wondering if I should keep this to myself because it works so well. I feel like people are going to try to recreate it, and I want to be selfish.
So maybe don't tell anyone.
Well, no.
Until the next time.
That's what this podcast is for.
Power grows when you share it, Justin.
Last year, or 2 years ago, I printed some lanyards. I found a company that did lanyards, and they had a pretty good rate. And I'd always kind of wanted to do lanyards just for fun.
See our previous episode, free lanyards.
Free lanyards.
Free
yeah.
lanyards.
So it didn't make sense to print lanyards normally, but the company that I looked into had like a sale once a year that it suddenly became like very affordable to do lanyards. And we had a couple local conventions that I wanted to like offer, okay, if I give you guys lanyards and I get be a sponsor, I can help with a show. And this was FanQuest, that's run by our producer Dan, and Prairie Comics Festival were like back to back. And so I printed lanyards and gave them enough that every vendor and artist could have a pretty lanyard. And this is instead like when you normally do Comic Cons, they will give you just basically a shoelace with a little badge at the end of it that says you're an artist or vendor, especially small shows. There's no real thought put into the lanyard. So I thought this was great, added benefit to those shows, and like it was kind of cool for me to have my art on everybody's neck.
So it's about an inch wide. It's
Green.
Yeah, about 2 feet
Well,
long.
the first one was very orangey,
Yeah.
and then so this idea worked so well, and so at Saskatoon last year, I approached, and Saskatoon's a much bigger show than these other ones, and I approached with the idea, if I do lanyards for every single artist and vendor, so this is around 700 lanyards, like it's not a small amount of lanyards, can I have a huge booth space in compensation?
Squid Pro Row, as Lyndon would say.
Squid Pro Row.
So from the convention standpoint, this is easy because they don't, like it doesn't cost them anything to give me booth space.
Right.
And then they don't have to do any effort of designing the lanyards, of printing the lanyards, of delivering the lanyards. Like I did all of that.
And you had examples of them the last time.
And I had
right?
examples,
So
yeah. So this was kind of
you
like a
could show your
year or two of
receipts,
the working, yeah. So in exchange for designing, printing, and sending the lanyards to the
having them
convention,
manufactured and shipped to the show.
yeah, I got 3 8-foot tables on a corner at the entrance of the convention. So it definitely I had an ideal spot and a huge amount of space. And then the coolest thing was like a lot of people who knew me would come over and like comment on the lanyards. But people like vendors would come over who didn't know me and would we'd talk shop or whatever, and at some point,
do you have a card?
They would ask for my card, and I got to point out like, hey, you just my logo's on your neck. I'm the guy who did the lanyards. And so I got to do this with a couple vendors, and it just felt like the biggest flex. Like, I'm on your neck already. That was cool.
You're wearing Justin Curry.
The other thing I wanted to point out was when doing the lanyards, I did this little adventure scene. There's a little town and a little forest where adventurers are fighting monsters, and then a dungeon where there's a dragon and stuff like that. And I pushed all the logos to the very back of the lanyards because I wanted it to be the prettiest lanyard it could be and not just be a big ad for the convention and for my brand. I wanted it to be something that people would use after the convention. So that was my goal.
Yeah, 100%. There'll be so many house keys on those lanyards.
Yes.
Everybody's teenage son or daughter is going to be given that lanyard to hold their house key, for sure.
Guy is ill.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I suppose it's the Italian climate.
We didn't go to Italy.
But I thought...
We've been here in this house ever since the day we were married.
The other thing that I really liked about this show in particular was after we got to, see previous episode, I suppose, but we got to ship a whole bunch of our stuff by pallet, and they had no other events throughout the week before this expo. So we were able to come 2 days early, put our entire booth up and together, and then leave and have an entire day
Not
left.
to haul anything in.
Yeah, not to haul anything, not to stress or worry, and just, we gave into workaholism is what we did. We went back to the BnB and we all just activated our inner introverts, drew comics and wrote things and worked on Kickstarter. So that part I really enjoyed is the pace of the show, because it used to be 3 days long. They moved it down to 2 days. We heard some feedback saying that a lot of people wanted to go back to 3 days. How do you guys feel about 3 days versus 2 day show?
Yeah, I know like the Friday is usually pretty quiet, but I think I kind of miss the 3 days. Like even though it's slow, there's still a trickle of income.
You like the ramp
coming.
up?
Yeah, and I don't think, and maybe it was just this year, but the Saturday and Sunday didn't seem busy enough to be as good as 3 days. You know?
Oh, I see what you
Like
mean.
another half day would have been nice.
Another half day would have been nice. Yeah, so maybe Friday isn't a full day. Like a Friday, maybe it's like starts at 4 and goes till like 8 o'clock. Like
A
it's
preview day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a preview day.
Those are
So
nice.
not a full day, but then yeah, I did kind of miss the Friday.
Me too.
It felt a little short just to have 2 days.
It felt like a really short show. Yeah, it's like yesterday was like nothing, right? It was 8 hours, and then today,
Yeah.
7 hours. It felt like, we came all this way for 2 days.
Well, we're on our way home.
We're on our way home.
It
That's that. I
happens
think,
to be on the way home.
I mean, I don't, I haven't tallied up all the final math necessarily, but I think my sales were pretty comparable to the 3 day show last year.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that was
I
much
think
of a
mine
Mine
was
were,
difference.
mine were better. But last year I didn't do super, so
Yeah.
it's all.
You were in a better
We had a
space.
booth
this time.
mate
I was.
this time.
You
as
had a
well.
booth mate,
We
I had
had
a better
space.
spot,
Yeah. We were
Yeah.
right down the murders row.
Yeah.
And dead work. We had dead work.
Lots
Well, we had
of
it
dead
last
work.
year. It just didn't sell last.
No. Speak for yourself. We had lots of dead work going around
sorry.
last year.
He was speaking for
Yeah.
himself.
I sketched a lot of.
Zach was in the battle of the battle bots.
That's right.
Every
Last
15
year.
minutes when they fired up a show, it was deafening.
Yeah, so-
That being said, it was cool.
So, dear listener, this year, being on my own at the booth, rather than have a 16-foot table plus a corner, which is an additional 4 feet of table for 20 feet, and only be myself without Steven, we went down to just one 8-foot table and the 4-foot corner. So I had roughly 12 feet of table space, which is the same amount of table space as I just had in Calgary. And I found, and in the place of the table that I gave up, Zach moved in. So Zach and I got to stand beside each other all weekend, make jokes, grumble together, and push people over to the other person's booth.
I think an important detail that I've realized we have to get on the record. It's Saturday. It's about...
Sunday.
No.
Oh, you're
It's
telling us.
Saturday.
Sorry,
We're
no.
going back in time. Come with me, dear listener, on a learning journey as we part the mists of time and
Can't
we
be
go
good.
back to
Can't be
Saturday.
good.
No, this is good because I want you to imagine that it's 10 in the morning, but perhaps 2 hours ago you had filled your thermos with coffee. I am sipping my thermos of coffee at the booth, and mine it has a big, wide aperture. You can unscrew it, and it's almost like a full cup when you take the top off it. But Justin's has a tiny little aperture. It's actually designed to hold a complete bottle of wine.
That's how they advertise it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Really how you use
Corksicle.
it more
Right.
than the size, though.
And
Shout out to Corksicle.
Justin leans
No
through.
sponsors.
Yeah, leans through the two divides between our booths, and he goes, "Gregory, has it ever occurred to you that thermos technology has gone too far?" And I look at him so puzzled.
It was the afternoon, and I had been waiting all morning to drink my coffee, but it would not cool down. It was piping hot the entire day.
You would just sip the tiniest little sip, and then, well, I guzzled my caffeine greedily. Oh, those were good times.
Too efficient. Yeah.
That was good times. So, what other technology has changed our life here at the show?
This show?
Yeah.
Aside from the palette.
Aside from the palette, obviously Square technology.
A lot of people were I was surprised the amount of people that were worried about cash only booths.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got asked a lot, like, so can you take card? Like, do we have to go to the ATM? And I said, and I don't know how true this is, but like 99% of booths are all set up to take debit and credit. Like, it's very easy to get that setup going.
Yeah.
So I don't think you'll run into any cash only booths.
And I think the common advice now for anybody tabling is you need a square. You lose
It's
a third of your
very-
sales if
yeah.
you don't have a square. Just do it. It's $60 once and you're good. Like, just do it. So there's no real cash only booths anymore.
Yeah.
Except the ones that are skipping out on the CRA, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel about this crowd compared to the Calgary crowd? Justin always says this thing, and I'm not sure if we've ever put it on the record. He maintains that every city you go to, in any country you go to, it's basically the same crowd is at Comic-Con.
The same type of people.
The same constituent parts.
Yeah. So I, at my height, I did 36 shows a year, all over the United States, Australia, I've gone to the UK, and the people, like the types of people you run into at Comic-Con are very, very similar, no matter where you are. They're all excited to be there, happy people, passionate about nerdom and pop culture, and I don't know. I often think, like, I'll be like, I'm in Denver, and it's like middle of Saturday, and if you like teleported me from a show in Winnipeg to Denver and like asked me where I was, it'd be hard to like tell you the difference based on the crowd, because just the personalities are so similar.
Would you agree with that? I see Zach shaking his head no. But that's kind of how you roll.
It's a knee-jerk response, I will admit. But no, I feel like while similar, different things are going to stick with different cons and attendees of different cons. Like, this was Calgary, there's more mass of people, and I felt like the pitches had to be tighter. And here, you have more time to chat and more... But that's maybe the size of the show more than people. I don't know. There's differences, and different stuff lands with different groups. Some shows my board game side of stuff does better, some my comics, and I do think that's partly the city and the culture.
Yeah, I found this show, more than Calgary, was interested in our fan art. Which is interesting. Yeah, that we did a lot more I did more fan art of this show than I did in Calgary.
Yeah, because primarily you sell your own IP as books. Yeah.
But if we recall last year, that was also the show where we were like, oh, we have the one Hellboy print. It sold a lot. It carried us through. So fan art seemed to be a thing more at this show. The other thing where you compare this to Calgary is you are going to see the same person 3 or 4 times at this show.
They do.
Small
You're
enough
not
going to see them in Calgary.
Come around. My take on the constituent parts of the attendees was because Justin and I were right at the entrance. So people either turn left and get swept up into the lighted pillars of the Justin Shangri-La.
And down past the road to me.
Right. Or they would come down the darkened alley towards my sinister booth. But either way, it was right at the front entrance. And so a lot of people that I talked to as kind of like the emissary for them for the show were older, rural, had never been to a Comic-Con before, didn't know even what was going on. And when I asked them like why they were there, they're like, oh, I brought my niece, my nephew, my son, my daughter, whatever. They said I should come and I would have a good time. I told them, no, I'll just wait in the car, or no, I'll go. And they got talked into coming in, and they were just kind of like you say, the first time I saw them, confused, a little bit stunned, wandering around. They'd never seen that many bright colored, characters in one place. And then about an hour later, they'd be coming around having the best time.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know this stuff even existed. I don't know what any of it is, but man, everyone here is having such good vibes.
Yeah.
So that I saw that more here than maybe I noticed in Calgary.
It also shines through, like, the people who run the show are good people who like nerd stuff, and they want to run a show where people enjoy it.
It's a very professional run show.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
but also they care, and that's not always true of megacorps. I won't name names, but certain megacorps own a lot of shows, and I'm not a fan of that.
Ones that aren't necessarily transparent about who does and doesn't have a booth.
Listen, I don't want to cast aspersions. We got that all straightened out. Don't try to put me in this.
No names were named.
Don't make me tell the story, gentlemen.
Oh, really, Kate? Don't you think at least I deserve an explanation? Very well.
Oh, should we talk about stands?
Oh man, yeah. Let's go back to stands.
So we went to a place where, not far from where we're staying, where there is a sign, dear listener. And that sign, you can see as soon as you come into the establishment, it says, no heavy metal or rap music, no exceptions.
And this is like next to the
jukebox,
machine,
the music machine. And there are, I don't know if it was just a trigger. It's like as soon as I walked in there, I needed to wash my hands, but I went to wash my hands in a bathroom just covered in pornography that like layered over top of the condom machine. And that's when it came out and you guys were all ready to leave. And you told me that there was only soup and sandwiches.
They weren't serving food.
They weren't serving soup and sandwiches. And Justin said, I don't want any part of the soup or sandwiches that they're going to make. Yeah, and or sandwiches they're going to make. So we left and we went to a nice little...
We went down the street and mentioned that we had been into stands.
Yeah.
And the waitress looked at us very differently.
Waitress at the rabbit hole.
At the rabbit hole.
Yeah, which you may, dear listener, think, that doesn't sound better.
It doesn't sound like an appetizing place to get something to eat.
It was better by process of elimination at the very least.
And much newer. They've only been open for 6 months or so.
We enjoyed ourselves there.
I feel like a rebrand is coming for the rabbit hole.
The rabbit's hole.
Is this
apostrophe is going to be huge?
Is this where we're going to start talking about the rebrand brand?
Oh yeah, good segue.
Like it's
good segue. Yeah. So Saskatoon. Well, we did sort of talk about it. They're going to be called
PopCon.
Yeah.
Or as they say in Boston, PopCon.
Oh no.
So this show was run by the people who ran Calgary at one point? No. Did it start as Fan Expo? I can't remember how.
So somebody told me it was Fan Expo first.
Fan Expo first, and then Fan Expo is a big company, and it just wasn't quite
a megacorp, you might say.
Worth their time, and so they let the show go, and then another city close by, Regina, the organizers from that show took it over, and then I think kind of COVID hit. So they dropped it, and after COVID, the people who run the convention center, who own and operate the convention center itself, they picked up the reins and they ran it.
And the show coordinator, it's clear that this is like a bit of a like a darling for him. He is into this stuff. He wants it to work. He is keen to have it succeed. He gets out on the floor himself and is like carrying boxes and doing stuff. Like he's not just the guy with the clipboard. He's really trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this has been called kind of the Saskatoon Expo since the beginning. And so I think part of the name for the brand change is the new organizers, now that it's theirs, they want to make it their own and change up the name.
Yeah.
So
PopCon.
I know one man who will be elated that it's called this. Last year I borrowed a lanyard because I didn't have a lanyard. I don't think they had provided lanyards at all last year or something. I didn't have one.
If they did,
hence
it was
the
on a string.
need.
So I went to a neighboring booth a ways away, and he had an extra lanyard for me. And so I heard him out as he had a conversation about how he couldn't believe they let other pop resellers in this year because the year before he had cornered the market. And this year's like, can you believe it?
Now, what's a pop for the dear listener?
They are bobblehead
Funko Pops.
Funko Pops. Okay. And he resells them. And he was disgusted that other pop resellers had been let in.
It's clear to see that the bottom is falling out of the Funko Pop world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
like the
so.
Beanie Babies are starting to...
Yeah.
They're 100% Beanie Babies.
Oh, big time.
PopCon makes me think very like for muggles, like everyday people. It doesn't make me think like hardcore
it
nerds,
makes me want
you
a
know?
soda. Like,
PopCon.
think of all the pops you can get here.
Well,
So
there's
you
pop
have soda,
stars.
not pop.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be popular culture, but it's
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love it, but
It's also very new. We are less than we heard it
Hours.
6 hours ago.
Breaking
So
news.
it's
Yeah.
breaking news.
it
As long
hasn't
as they run
sunk
this
in.
good a show, I'll be fine either way. But it's not ideal.
Yeah, I honestly don't care what they call it as long as
Yeah.
it's the same organizers because they did a great job.
Yeah.
So then, looking forward to year one of PopCon,
Dun dun dun.
what do you want to do next year?
Well, I'm gonna make a chase item for them.
Oh yeah, Gregory was super jealous about my lanyard. He
So
wants to
jealous.
get in on this
So jealous.
sponsorship deal.
Yeah,
So
It
you're gonna
hurt.
make a poster for next year.
it hurt me. I don't know what it'll be. I think it might be a poster. I have a couple of ideas that I want to tell Justin
now you
here
know how I
on
feel
the record.
about
Justin
your
will try to
beer
beat you-
label going
Justin
by
will try
me.
to beat you to the market if you tell him any good idea. He's
So-
a shark.
Yeah, let me tell you about this great game Justin and I came up with. Okay, no, we'll leave that alone because Zach is
No,
kind of he'll
I
get hurt.
think
I love
that
it.
the super fans need something next year.
I think the super fans need something. This is the people who have paid extra to come in early.
Correct.
Dear listener,
The
they
VIP.
have a
Justice
VIP
for
pass.
the super fans.
Justice for the super fans.
I've seen some really great results in working with the Winnipeg Convention and Transcom Brewing, doing a poster and a beer label for them, and it just driving traffic into the show to find me to do signatures or sketches for them or whatever. Really good. I'd like to try to replicate some version of a chase item like that for Sask Expo. And the cool thing here is like I wouldn't even need my whole booth paid for example. Like if they just subsidized it somehow, I'd have it be commensurate to the amount of effort I'm willing to put into it. But yeah, made me jealous watching.
Ah.
Yeah, the Chasing Artwork brand.
You know what they could use?
Grow 2 sizes.
If you want to really copy Chasing Artwork, is they could really use new exhibitor badges
They
that
could.
attach to the lanyards.
I thought about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, then you have to get into.
I don't
I
wanna
don't
do
know
that,
how you
no.
get into printing
Hiss.
those. Yeah,
Hiss.
and you really can't make your mark on those.
No.
They have to be.
Hiss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's.
I don't want
Function
that.
over form.
But you're happy with your booth setup. You're happy with your content.
Loved it. I really, well, I was one hand tied behind my back at the last show, so it felt like I got to unfurl the sails, really spread the wings.
Looked good.
The ziggurat was in full form, and it did feel good. And my favorite thing about having enough space for a little bit of everything that I've got in my art portfolios is that I sell a little bit of everything. So it's like it reinforces to me that some of these wild ideas I have that might not be, the popcorn of the idea, available for the masses are in fact have enough of a niche if I can get them in front of people. And so,
Popcorn.
oh no.
Zach, what does your booth look like next year for Sask? For popcorn?
Bigger, better, those two things.
Boulder.
Big. One of my favorite taglines that Zach has at his booth as people come up. He goes, "I make comics, board games, those two things."
It was good. I'm genuinely thinking of putting on a table runner at the bottom because I think I've seen you see like those stores that are like this thing, this thing, this thing.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
Those two
Yeah.
things.
He's got two
pretty
things.
strong.
I have action, mystery, thrill.
And I think that encapsulates my humor enough that people
Yeah.
who would
Yeah.
stop for that would like everything I've got
Yeah.
to display. So I genuinely might make table
it's your
runners.
gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Right? If they get that joke and like that joke. I also saw Justin, speaking of jokes, a true fact of the canvases that he has printed is that they are archival printing. They'll last for 80 years. He tells people with this deadpan, in 80 years, if it's faded, come back, I'll give you a refund. And people, some small percentage of people find it funny.
One in 3.
Most people are just like, oh, good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Definitely
great.
doing that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
My other
I can't wait till your heirs
Yeah.
have to deal with the mess you've created.
My other favorite feature of Zach's display is his backstand. Because Zach, as he grows his booth, is going to rebrand it as the ZM Schuster backstand. Right now, he has a bright purple shower curtain
That's right.
called that says Wizlords in Space.
My big selling board game. That is the big seller on my
It's a
table.
big selling board game. But I also know Zach, which means that when he rebrands and gets his full banner, that shower curtain is going up in his bathroom.
Yes, my roommate will not be pleased. I'm very excited.
And I can only imagine the facial expressions when Zach has company over in
And
his
it says,
apartment.
Whiz
Yeah.
Biz
Whiz
Games.
Biz Games, Wizlords in Space
Yeah.
says your every time you go into his bathroom.
Oh,
We're not kidding. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
This.
this is
right.
not hyperbole.
He's
There's
got
no
me.
hyperbole left
He's
on
right
this show.
on this one.
So you said bigger, taller. What does that mean?
I was just checking out buzzwords. I fly home from this show after road tripping with these hooligans, and so I've kept this show fairly small in terms of baggage both times. And honestly,
Not the emotional baggage.
no,
You're a
that
crew.
that all comes with me
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But no, in terms of literal baggage, I've kept it small. It's a show that is small and cozy, and I don't know if I need to go crazy here, but bigger is always good. Building
We'll
up your booth is good.
We'll have for next
We'll
year.
have we'll have Hero Man,
Oh,
we'll have
Hero Man.
maybe Broggy even. I've got many things in the chamber that aren't quite out for this con season yet, that I've been working hard on.
And then a new book on monsters.
Yes.
And Dire Beast.
To be titled.
Dire Beast.
And the
Dire Beast,
leftover
and
Dead
maybe
Works.
my next board game. I've been working very hard for how few new things my table has this con season, but that is how the cards fall sometimes.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this at the last podcast, but there's nothing that stings more than like somebody who runs up to your booth excited. Oh my God, you're back again. What's new this year?
I got one in Calgary.
You tell them like what's new or what's not new, and it sparks no joy. They're like, oh,
Hope fades from their
okay.
eyes.
I didn't quite have that.
Well, it's
'cause I
great
had
to see
nothing
you.
new.
Yeah. Yeah, goodbye.
I didn't quite
You
have
had
Laundryman.
that-
That had that in Calgary. Multiple people came looking for Laundryman 2. And I'm like, well, I don't have Laundryman 2. I have There Was Another Life, our other new book, science fiction. And they're like, I'll come back next year.
And
They
you've
left.
learned the walls people build in genre in their hearts, right? When they
Yeah.
want a certain thing, they don't want that other thing, even if you made it. It can be tricky.
It's
It can be
okay.
tricky.
Laundryman book 2 slaps.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
It's got a lot of drip.
It's got some Riz.
Oh, yeah. Please stop using these words. Oh my god.
You see, most people tend to think of the body and the mind as being totally different. Two separate entities. Whereas in point of fact, they're actually linked. No sugar. Do you follow me?
Justin, what does your booth look like for PopCon year 1?
Yeah.
Why don't you make it smaller for a change?
my booth?
Yeah. Why don't you try out?
So the other reason that
try
Gregory
humbleness.
is so salty is because I angled my booth away from his, and so I'm the first booth people run into, and you just naturally follow it away from where he's hiding.
It's like a slip and slide
It's
of
like-
light and color away from where my
like
booth
I
was.
actively affected the flow of the crowd away from his booth
What
without
power
meaning
he
to.
wields.
It was
It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But like I just said, yeah, the not having a new book this year, I definitely, like, lots of people came back for the next book, for the new book. I don't have a new art book out yet. It's in the works. My next graphic novel is Spark Chasers, which is 250 pages, so it's taking a very long time. But I did have preview pages for it, so I pitched everybody on the book that's coming out and getting people excited.
They'll be so disappointed if you're not done by this time next year.
I told everybody, if it's not done by this time next year, I'll at least have a very firm print date of when it is
Right.
done. So
And you'll have your new isometric book and stuff. by
yeah, and I
then.
have a tutorial, like a kind of a shorter tutorial art book that is coming out for San Diego Comic-Con in July, so that's going to be out soon. But yeah, not having a new book, I didn't like that. So having Dire Beasts and hopefully Spark Chasers and maybe a new art book for next year.
Now,
Very
if you're a dear listener who got a regular job and is also making stuff creatively and doing shows and stuff like that, and you're listening to us drop this like avalanche of title ideas and projects, please recognize that we're working 8, 10, 12 hours a day every day. This is some of us, 3 out of 4 of us work that much on our creative outputs. The point being that it's our full-time gig, so we have no choice. It sounds like a luxury, but it's like really the necessity.
I was saying
of,
those are rookie numbers. You gotta
Right.
bump those numbers
yeah,
up.
you gotta bump them up.
And I want to reel that back and mention to the dear listener that I do not spend 8 to 10 hours a day on creative work. I also have a job like that I work.
This is what
part to
makes us
full-time.
mad at Lyndon, because he's already pulling all this stuff off and he holds down.
But I
a
want
regular job.
I want the listener to know that can be a good thing to have a job.
Oh, it's 100%
Because it
a
can
good
be
thing.
so stressful
Yeah.
to not have a job.
That's kind of where I'm at. I'm
Yeah.
very stressed.
So stressful. And this
Yeah.
is something that I've talked to other professionals about, the idea that having a job that pays your bills but gives you enough time to make things creative,
Yeah.
it keeps your mind clean of the stress and allows you to just make things
100%.
without
Never,
having to take jobs that are going to take advantage of you or
never
going
begrudge
to-
the day job.
So
Ever. Yeah.
dear listener, don't feel bad if you have a job and you're
Yeah.
doing this. So do I.
Yeah.
It's great.
I might go back. It's stressful out here.
It's great.
Well, and you were just talking about how you and Steven, and we can cut this if it's too inside baseball, but you've just reached the point where your creative endeavors, you guys have a shared account for Infinite Studios, are now feeding back into themselves and
Right.
not drawing out of household funds for
Right.
either of you.
Yeah.
So that's a huge step from a creative perspective to be able to say like, oh, this thing that was my idea, my passion, my hope, my dream, I'm going to have to fund it myself. I'm going to have to make it myself. I'm going to have to create it myself. I'm going to have to market it and then sell it. And then it's actually churning the wheel enough and bringing enough up out of the well to be self-sustaining.
Yeah, I think Stephen and I really appreciate that our creative careers fund our creative careers, and that we don't necessarily have to draw out of our day jobs or ask our wives to subsidize those careers, aside from the amount of time we put into it.
Yeah, but I think like that's most 9 out of 10 times that's how it starts, right? You got to take a risk in the beginning.
Yeah.
And eventually it starts to, run on its own power, but.
Yeah, well, and Gregory, you've described that too, where you're just shoving things in the hole and waiting for it to come out the other end. Right?
Yeah, this is that was perhaps indelicate and indelicate way to describe. The more delicate description is something that my father used to say about any kind of business endeavor, is that you want to imagine that you're on one side of the highway and the other you, the you in the future, is across the highway and is there. And the only way to communicate with that future you is to put stuff in the drain pipe that runs under the highway. And each thing that you put into the drain pipe, of course, can't reach all the way. It's only as you keep putting things into the drain pipe that the first one eventually comes out. And it can be a long time where it feels like all the traffic is passing you by and you're not going anywhere. And then suddenly future you, boom, benefits from that.
Yeah. So I always say whenever Stephen and I talk to someone about this story, like our first couple of shows that we didn't make money.
Yeah.
We did the shows because you do the shows and you keep making things, and eventually you have so many things that the shows start to pay for themselves, and then the shows pay for your plane tickets to go to other shows, and they start paying to print things, and
there's that critical mass, and I think we talked about this in the last podcast as well, but like if you're doing books, if you're doing prints, if you're doing pins,
sculptures,
whatever,
boudoir, whatever you're doing.
A table doesn't look very impressive with just one thing on it. Some booths make it work, but like it's whatever you're doing, you have to keep making it, and once you hit a certain number, you'll notice a change in the crowd, a change in the reaction to now there's suddenly like a variety to it, and it gets a lot more attention when there's just one or two or three.
And by then you have some of them paid off, so every time you sell one, it's feeling that much better, and it
it's
all snowballs into a good living.
And how great is it, like as a digital artist, like the amount of money we can bring in on projects that are like a book I printed in 2016 made me money this weekend.
Right.
Right? Like I'm still making money off projects from 10 years ago.
I want you to know, if you're one of those people who makes like a ceramic mug, you know, with your own hands and sweat, and then sells just the one and has to make it. We know how much work that is, and we know that the margin is not enough, and we never quibble on the price for those things for those people, because when we have finished a piece of content, art, or story, the capacity of how people consume that means that we can print another one. We can go to the same place, and we're busy working on something else while those other ones are being printed off. So, but I have I went through entrepreneurship. I studied that. We did all our accounting. In normal business, you go and you get a loan for the money to pay someone else for the labor to get your dream off the ground. So in this case, you're just skipping the step of the loan. You're doing the labor yourself, and you're paying yourself back for that time in the efforts that you've created. So I think, Lyndon, you brought something up important, though. It takes time away from your loved ones, and so they should, if they can't be on board forever, that you're always going to be gone if it doesn't work or give something back. You have to create a timeline for yourself where you're happy with where you're at, or you're satisfied that you can go slow. You have to figure out something that works in those regards. And it's, even for me, who has been doing it a long time, this is an ongoing. It's every 6 months we revisit what effect it has, my work-life balance, what effect it has in the family, and make adjustments as a result. So,
What is it, Guy?
What is it? The cure for all suffering. The answer to all problems. The key, my darling, to heaven, or to hell, or to nothingness. poison.
Now you're saying you would love the stability of a regular job now that you've been doing it.
He's pointing to Zach. He's pointing to Zach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Like I've spent the last 2 years.
To Zach, not at Zach. Just to.
I've spent the last 2 years just making cool things with my friends, which is all I've ever wanted to do. And that's great when I get to do that. But I'm finding as the coffers run dry again, it might be time to build up some of that temporarily just to be able to have the stability to do more of this. I'm doing what I want to do all the time, and it's lovely. But it feels a little more lovely with savings to back you up. So might be time for a quick couple months somewhere. Don't tell my future boss I'll be quitting as soon as I feel comfortable with it. But it might be an option again, and there's no shame in that. We need money to live. As it's been explained to me, we need money to live.
As much as you try to fight that.
I do.
Yeah.
I just want to make cool stuff. I don't even want to sell it. I just want to make it. I want people to enjoy it. Everything in between that annoys me greatly. But here we are. On the road.
Here you are, on the road, annoyed greatly. Do you think that your predilection to make cool stuff will be adversely affected by that? Or does the stress, affect it negatively so that the job will release the stress?
I had a day job at a comic store. That was sometimes a stressful environment. And that wore me down and made it harder to create. I felt even on days I did a quick shift, I wasn't creating. And the more days you give up to the beast of capitalism of your week, the less you get to draw. But I'm finding now that I'm freelance and not working for the man, you're still giving it up in some way. Taking on freelance, is that better? It's getting me closer to my goal because I'm practicing skills that apply to other stuff I make later. It's better, but it's still capitalism.
And you're still worrying about the next job.
Yeah.
Like the difference between having a steady paycheck is very different from freelancing and having done freelance from having to then not know where your next paycheck is going to come from.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, dear listener, just know that we know it's not an easy thing. And if you're someone, we've met people who listen to the show who do not undertake creative endeavors. They like hearing about how others do it. I think that this is a good point of view for them to know that what is being given up and what is being, put on the line. It's good to know, even if you are, what you call them, muggles. You're fine. You're special. You're special too. You just can't do magic, Harry. That's all. You just can't do magic. We're going home tomorrow. All of us are going to our separate ways. And we have more or less made a gentleman's agreement not to communicate with one another for at least a week once we get home. But do any of you have big events, big things, stuff happening once you get back?
I'm heading right back out on the road again. So May is I go to OdaFest in Calgary again next week, which I think is important to point out. So I was just in Calgary last weekend for a Comic-Con. 2 weeks later, I'm back for an anime convention. There is zero crossover in those crowds, in those sales. Like it's completely different. So I think that's just important to say for people who are starting out who are like, will discount an anime show because they did the Comic-Con in that city. Not a thing. Very different.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of going back in June for the horror convention, and I've been told by a lot of people it's a completely different crowd goes to both. Yeah, so your own city. Well, I mean, how many people live in Calgary?
1 million and change.
Right, a million and a half people didn't go to the Calgary Comic-Con, so of course there are more people with more interests that will go to more things.
Yeah.
I have a visit to a school and then later a visit to Brandon, but that's not for a couple of weeks. So I get to go home and finish up a bunch of projects. I have the 12th issue, the final issue of Eye Collector I'm going to put to bed at long last.
Woo!
I'm excited. I'm actually a little nervous, to be fair, but I'm excited.
That project has been going on a long time.
It's been going on a long time. It's I'll miss it not being in my mental space, but I realized, you asked me earlier, like what's on the docket. Lyndon and I have a project called The Year Away, and I'm really starting to look forward to working on that in earnest. And so the only way to do that is to break up with my old creative girlfriend, the Eye Collector.
Gotta let her go.
Yeah, I gotta let her go.
I hope you're ready for a nice slow burn of a book.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Because it's gonna be nice and quiet, and then it's gonna be big, and it's gonna be quiet again.
Yeah.
Lyndon, you were slated for Brandon, but you're thinking of giving that up. Do you want to talk about just the decision that goes into that? Like, because that I think is something good to talk about as well. Like some people, they sign up for shows and things become it's too much, either financial burden or just time burden, and like giving up a show is not an easy decision. So
Yeah, I gave up. So I gave it up today.
give it up today.
I told them today. They emailed me back. They accepted my giving it up.
Which
Your resignation.
good thing number one. A lot of people will just
They'll be mad.
don't pay and never show up.
Yeah.
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 No, I told
That's
them.
not really how Lyndon rolls.
And I told them, I'd love to come back next year. But so we're talking about Prairie Con, which is in Brandon.
Yeah.
And maybe it is the burnout of
14
12
days on the road,
Yeah,
yeah.
14 days, 12 to 14 days on the road coming out. But Brandon is in 2 weeks, Prairie Con, and it is a gaming convention. It's
You're my people. I'm coming for you.
It's their first year in a new space, from what I understand. It is a 3-day show. So it's a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. And on the website, it doesn't tell me what the vendor hours are. It only tells me what the gaming floor hours are. And they list them as, and I'm just going to do this off my top of my head, so I may be off by a little bit, but roughly 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Friday.
Because, dear listener, gaming cons, they're running games there, they're running sessions, they're running
Tabletop
tournaments,
gaming, like
tabletops,
certain-
D&D, Warhammer, so it goes
Long
round the clock,
sessions.
long sessions.
Then 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Saturday. And
I'm
then
there for it.
10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday.
You don't even get to 5 p.m. on Sundays. 6.
So at 6 p.m., it's a 2-hour and change drive to Brandon from where I live in Winnipeg. And, maybe if it were, I was there for one night, it would be different. But 2 nights, 3 really long days in a show where I'm worried that I might not be the right booth for the crowd of people.
I think you'd be fine. The reason I'm going is I really like gaming. I really had such a great time at Gamatoba.
You tested the waters in Brandon not that long ago
Yeah,
as well.
that went pretty good. And the 2 producers on the film, the short horror film, or long feature-length horror film, but short shooting schedule that I did, also live in Brandon. So I have other business to attend to while I'm there. So it's kind of like a nice way to do all those things at the same time.
So all of these are happening. But on the flip side, it's another weekend away from my wife. I imagine that is the weekend they're opening up the cabin at the lake, that they would much appreciate my help being able to do. I can spend time with family instead. Steven is not available for the whole weekend. He could only come to part of it, there's nothing wrong with that. I just did 2 weeks.
Can we start calling him Baby Daddy on the podcast?
No.
No?
We don't.
I call him Jarrell.
Oh, Jarrell. Yes.
Because he's the father of Superman, the son, the last son of Krypton. But to go back to my story.
That's for the dear listener who is not a huge nerd like us.
Correct. To go back to my story, it's a conflict in that I can spend time with family. I can go to the lake instead. I can spend time with my wife, who I've now been away from for 2 weeks. Steven is not there the entire weekend, so it's not like I'm catching up with Steven.
Right.
He gets to make comics instead of maybe sell comics, maybe sit there and do nothing. We don't know. But it's no shade on the organizers of Prairie Con. We definitely like to check it out. It's just not a good year for us to go. So we decided when we weighed the cost of staying in Brandon, the tables, the gas, and the cost of time, we decided for this year we're better off staying at home.
Yeah, time away, travel costs, accommodation cost, booth cost, and you have to weigh all those things together, right? So I always have a couple of shows on the year's calendar that I consider sort of experiments. Yeah. So that's what this one is for me.
Well, I'm glad you and Dr. Jonathan Ball will be experimenting on it.
We will. He's not ready.
Are you worried that they're going to come back with glowing reviews and you missed out?
No.
You think you made the right decision?
I think if they have a great time, it'll be nice to go next year.
Yes, it's true.
So last year there was a show in Calgary called GameCon Canada that I heard around Calgary Expo time. I was invited by
Interesting.
the showrunners.
Another gaming show.
Yes. But I have a board game. And so I was told we got a new show coming, and we've all heard this as people at the table. Oh, we got a new show, it's going to be awesome. And I said, I'm not taking the risk that year, and I didn't. And everybody who I heard went did very well. It was a well-run show, organized well.
Most of the time, that is not
That's
the
not
result.
how this goes.
Right.
So when I heard back from all my friends who were like, I made more than Calgary Expo, I went, that's crazy. This year they're up to Edmonton for the next 3 years. I believe they're locked in up there. I'm trying them out this June, and if that's even solid, I'm very excited to have another great show. They seemed like great guys when I talked to them at another, actually my risky show last year was another board game expo in Calgary, not Falcon, but a new one popped up. I don't know if it's coming back, but we took the risk, and I met those guys there, and they were great. It's good people who love board games, running a great show, advertising well. Again, not common, but they're lovely.
The show that Steven and I really want to go to this year is Icon.
Dun, dun, dun.
Icon organizers, if you listen to this podcast, Stephen Call and I would really like to come to your show. We're on the wait list. Look for us under Infinite Studio.
They have a lot to offer.
I've heard nothing but amazing things. In fact, when I helped Justin at the Chasing Artwork booth last year, it was a wonderful show. Give me a spot.
So yeah, just the scuttlebutt that I've heard like from other artists, from organizers at some of these events, especially Comic-Cons in general, but anime ones especially. I'm talking about Canadian shows like Anime North, Icon, Otafest, Animathon. The application rate went through the roof, like double or triple in some things. Like they are swarmed by people wanting to go to their shows this year. So the word is out. Anime shows are great places for artists
to find new people. Yeah. So it's tricky to get in. We both Justin and I feel very
You need a
thankful.
LAN connection. You need to hardwire your internet if you want to get into these shows.
Yeah, because unlike regular conventions, they open the bidding online at a certain time and you have to sign up instantly. So, well, gentlemen, since we're already thinking about the future and not the present, we might as well leave the dear listener wanting more of our future. This has been Super Pulp Science. I'm BnB Kamichuk, encouraging you all to join the fight and make comics.